inside of me for love. I don't know how long, I don't know why, but I keep thinking something's bound to go wrong.
Hello and welcome to the Fisher Protocol, a channel dedicated to the world's greatest rock and roll band. It's The Who. The band is a shared passion of ours, and these discussions are more of a personal journey than a critical review. Also, no money is made from these videos. And my wife is getting very sick of that. So please let us know we're not alone in Wholand by taking a quick second to like, subscribe, and share with your Who-minded friends. Constructive feedback is always welcome, either in comments below or on Twitter and Instagram at Fisher Protocol. So my name is Ethan, and today on the show I'm joined by Tom and Betts to discuss Keith Moon's Two Sides of the Moon. We do not claim to be experts, just fans of the world's greatest rock and roll band, The Who. Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going. It's going.
Yeah. All right. Tom, you good?
I'm good, man. Are you good?
I'm good. Today we're talking about Keith Moon. Keith Moon's only solo album, Two Sides of the Moon. And since this is the album that I lured Betts to be on our show with, I'm going to let her talk about it a little bit. What you got?
Well, I'm going to get fortified first because this is a big one.
Yeah.
Okay, so strap in, buckle up, because we're going to talk about Keith Moon, the star of the stage, screen, and the rainbow. And I'm going to start in 1973. John Lennon and Yoko Ono separate following the commercial and critical failure that is sometime in New York City. Yoko, with John's blessing, or rather with John with Yoko's blessing, takes May Pang and they head to California. John calls up Harry Nilsson, the talented singer, songwriter, and fellow Hellraiser, and it's on. He goes out there ostensibly to record a few records. He's going to do Mind Games, he's going to do Walls and Bridges, and he's going to do a record called Rock and Roll. And it's going to be a bunch of covers of 50 songs that he likes. Now stay with me on this because I am going to get to Keith. He enlists the talents of Phil Spector to produce it. And Phil Spector shows up periodically in a karate suit or surgeon scrubs. At one point, he pulls a gun out on John. And another time, he steals the master tapes. So while all this is going on, John and Harry get the idea that maybe they'll do a covers record too. And this will be Pussycats. Pussycats will be half covers. It'll be half originals. And they're going to need Ringo, and they're going to need Keith for this one. So they make a phone call to Keith, and Keith jumps on the first plane, grabs a net, and they are gone to California too. John thinks it's an awesome idea that everybody involved in this record should live together. So they all move into a house in Malibu.
This is John Lennon now, right?
Yeah, John Lennon.
Okay. Right.
John Entwistle's nowhere around.
All right.
And I think for reasons.
All right.
But anyway, so Keith takes up residency in the closet next to May and John Lennon's bedroom. And they also form something called the Hollywood Vampires, which is sort of a loose conglomeration of Harry Nilsson, John Lennon, Keith, Ringo, Mick Dolenz, sometimes Alice Cooper, sometimes Iggy Pop, sometimes Mark Bolan, and sometimes Anne Murray. And they basically terrorize the Vegas Strip, the Troubadour, Tommy Smothers, and various waitresses.
So is this the first iteration of the Hollywood Vampire so thoughtlessly maligned on the show many times?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
the they have the little plaque at the Troubadour and everything like that.
Okay.
Keith sees all of these covers albums being made and thinks to himself, I would like to do this too. So he enlists Mal Evans, who's the Beatles' roadie and assistant,
Rest in
and
peace,
fellow prodigious partier Hellraiser. And they go into the studio, and Keith records a version of Don't Worry Baby by the Beach Boys, because, of course, he famously loved that music. He does not play the drums on it, he sings on it. And as we all well know, legendarily, Keith can't really sing.
Right.
So they record it, and they send it off to MCA. And now I want to just digress for just a hot minute and say, because I'm going to do a lot of digressing about it, that the Who camp was kind of for this. Kerbishley said, he was like, we wanted Keith to kind of do this because it kept Keith busy. A Keith without anything to do was a very dangerous Keith. So they were all like, yeah, do this record, kid.
Okay.
MCA, they get it off to MCA, and this is where things could have turned out vastly different. But MCA, the powers that be at MCA hear it, and they're like, we would like to hear more. So
after Don't Worry Baby.
After Don't Worry Baby, they hear it and they're like, yeah, we like to hear more. Their reasoning behind this is that, number one, they think they can pull it off pretty cheaply, an album. And two, Keith knows a lot of people in LA and the very best musicians and singers and backups and everybody. So they're like, hey, he can pull all these people in because they're his buddy, and we don't really have to pay anybody, and we can pull this off pretty cheaply. So they record quite a few songs in the beginning, and again these are sent off to MCA, and MCA hears them, and they take Teenage Idol and they take Don't Worry Baby, and they release it as a single. And it flops. I mean, it's really, the critics savage it. It doesn't sell. And they don't know what to do with it. And then Keith, out of nowhere, fires Malcolm. Fires him. So they're like, okay, well, maybe he's serious about this. So they write a bigger check and send it off. They get a new producer. This guy's name is Skip Taylor, well-known, well-liked in the community. And I'm going to get to the track records in just a hot minute because I want to kind of talk about this situation because it makes things doubly worse.
Okay.
So they bring Skip Taylor in, and they're going to go record this at the record plant. And now, a little bit about this. Skip provides the drugs and the alcohol. But the reason why is because in their mind, if he's supplying the drugs and the alcohol, then this is going to control the amount of drugs that come in and the quality of the drugs that come in. And they all see this as kind of a good thing because they know Keith is going to use anyway. Why not we just control this?
But was he was he an actual music producer, Skip?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he actually was.
Okay.
And they do it at this place called the Record Plant, which is a recording studio that has bedrooms. So it just becomes this massive party. But they go and they re-record everything. And as Mark Volman says, he's like, nothing changed from when Mal did it to Skip did it, but they did it anyway.
Right.
And this is where we could talk a little bit about what's on it. So we have like Solid Gold and The Kids Are All Right and Move Over Miss L. Move Over Miss L is a song that John Lennon wrote for Keith, and he would later record it himself. The Kids Are All Right.
Who did that? Well, okay. Well, let's go over. Can we go track by track real quick and then
Yeah.
Let's kick this off with Crazy Like a Fox.
Yeah, I remember listening to this album a long time ago, I think once, and that was my only experience with it, maybe for a reason. So I had little to no recollection about it. This first song I thought was definitely better than I was expecting a song on this album to sound. Decent guitar solo, backing vocals were good. They were a little loud, but other than that, it was an okay song for Keith Moon singing. It was okay. Nothing to write home about, but it was not bad.
Well, I agree too, because I listened to it 10 months ago when I thought we were going to talk about it, and I listened to it a couple times and I was like, I can't do this. I'm not ready for this. So it was definitely better than I remembered the album being, for sure. I really want to come in with an open mind to this one because it is literally like when you read all these Who books, it's like the two most dismissed albums are like Vampires, The Rock, and Two Sides of the Moon, right? That's a fair assessment to say. Where maybe some solo Roger Daltrey things are kind of forgotten. These ones are kind of remembered on the negative side, if that's a thing. So I was actually really shocked with how much I liked Crazy Like a Fox, as far as an album opener,
Yeah.
So, Beth, do you like Crazy Like a Fox?
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a very good opener.
I'm not talking about Solid Gold first. All right, maybe I will. Maybe I will.
All right.
Uncle Ernie is like from the Tommy movie is like literally like the most horrendous character in the world, and Solid Gold is the song equivalent of Uncle Ernie from the movie Tommy. It started to grate on me from like the very beginning, and actually it actually encapsulates a lot of what I was thinking about the album, because I find, and we'll talk about it later, when Keith leans into some kind of sentimentality or childhood love of something, it can be not bad. Do you know what I mean? Like with Don't Worry Baby or whatever. But when he feels the need to, and I understand why, go into this thing like that's on Solid Gold, it's too grating for me. I can't take it. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely not a good song. I just wasn't for me. I agree with you. This is kind of what I was expecting from the album. Not my thing.
Yeah.
There's a song with the same title from the band The Darkness.
Yeah.
And it's I almost thought for half a second maybe they were, maybe this song was the influence for their song. So their song's good, but this one isn't. But similar topic though, of like, writing a song that's a #1 hit kind of thing. But The Darkness spins it in a funny way. This one is just not good.
I think of the Beyonce song from Austin Powers and Goldmember. So that's what I think. Bets anything about Solid Gold? I mean,
I'm going to defend it. I'm going to defend it. It is so moony. And one of the things they had to do, because the initial recordings, they said he had this like weird country twangy Nashville kind of thing happening, and they had to scrap all of that. So they had him lean into his whole, Keith character kind of thing for this one. For me, it's quintessential Keith, and I actually don't hate it. I like it. Right.
I'm gonna expect a lot of that. This
Yeah.
which is fine. Because when we first met, Bets, I think your name was like
Two Sides of the Moon Enjoyer.
Two Sides of the Moon Enjoyer. I was like, oh, I should talk to this person. Okay. Don't Worry Baby is one of those things where it's like you can tell he loves the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
even though he's not singing great, he's singing from the heart, and I don't hate it. I like it. Bets, when you like them?
And this was my very first version of Don't Worry Baby, because I heard this one
That's weird.
before I heard I heard this one before I heard the Beach Boys one. So this is kind of how I associate it. There is a video for it if you, on www.youtube.com, so definitely look it up.
Okay.
I have some sentimental attachment to it. I like it all right.
Sure. Tom?
When I think about what makes the Beach Boys really good or special, I think about strong vocals and good, solid writing skills, and Keith misses the mark on one of these. So,
Right.
again, I appreciate his love for it, but
Yeah.
not the vocals.
Right. I didn't mind One Night Stand. I thought it was a nice little country ditty.
hmm
And I think there is a line there that he has to tightly walk to get the few tracks I like on the album good with the vocals. So, it didn't stand out to me as a vocal like catastrophe or anything. Just seemed like a nice country thing.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah, I thought it was solid.
Solid Gold. That's
It's a catchy little number. It's catchy. I don't hate it.
You
It's
don't hate
catchy.
it. Okay.
I don't hate it.
Or can you say you hate any song on this album?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to it then. Okay.
You're gonna get to it. You'll know it when you get to it.
It's got to be the same one I hate.
Probably.
He did a cover of a band I'd never heard of. The song's called "The Kid's All Right." Tom, did you
Oh
like?
yeah.
My notes were, would you like to listen to a shitty version of an amazing song? This is for you. That's all I gotta say.
That's on that one.
My note was, nope.
Okay, so you didn't like it. Okay.
I did. This is my least favorite one. And my understanding is that a lot of with the songs that I'll digress. The drums are so messy on this. Like, dude, you've played this a million times. Why are they so bad on this? It's not good. It's not good.
And it'd be good to point out that this is one of the only three songs he played drums on.
Yeah.
Right. Which is kind of weird because you're good at that.
Well, the thing was I'm sorry. He saw it as this was like drums were like his job, and he didn't want to do his job. He wanted to have fun. So, yeah, he wasn't going to play drums on this record if he could help it.
I wonder what Pete thought of this version. Anyway, guess it doesn't matter. You dropped something about. By the way, for Kids All Right, I didn't hate it. Like the big band, just him doing it with like a different arrangement with a band in the back and everything. Sometimes I don't like it when people really Elvis things out. And what I mean by that is Elvis later in time, he did Heartbreak Hotel, but later when he did Heartbreak Hotel at like the Hilton or whatever, it had his big band behind it. So
yeah.
That's what I mean when I say things are Elvised. The Elvis Kids All Right, I didn't hate it. I did not know Move Over Miss L was written for Keith. I knew that it was a John Lennon song.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any information?
I wasn't aware of any of that until after I listened to it. It is one of the songs I enjoyed more than others on this album. I did say I thought it'd be a better song for Roger. But yeah, it's a good song. It's got some silly saxophone solos in it, but yeah, it's all right.
It really reminded me of Whatever Happened to Saturday Night from Rocky Horror, but also because that is a takeoff on quote unquote 50s, you know what I mean? Or whatever that thing that Bruce was trying to tap into, or that bar band thing going on, you know what I mean? Move Over Miss L, that's not about him telling. I mean, I always thought it was, of course, about John Lennon getting a new wife.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only from me listening to it, and who else would Miss L be?
Yeah.
Got any information on that, Bets? Any?
Not other than the fact that Lennon wrote it, and this is not one of my more. I don't care for this one as much.
Okay.
It's a mess for me.
It's like a Chuck Berry type kind of thing. But when I was looking at songs for this album, I was going for what really tanks it for me. And some of those are coming up. Teenage Idol is not something I liked. Bets, you seem to disagree.
Again, this is my first experience with Teenage Idol. Other than the fact, like I said, Keith's vocals are kind of overshadowed by Dick Dale's amazing guitar. I don't hate this. I don't. I like it all right. And it's kind of an earworm for me. So it's good. It's cool.
The drunk vocals for me are just that kind of sing. I don't know. Just didn't do it for me. I tell you what did kind of wake me up a little bit was there's that crazy panning in your headphones in the end of that song.
Yeah.
I was like just chilling, listening to the album last night, and that caught me by jolted me awake. I was like, whoa.
I remember that happening on the album, but I don't remember, and it was this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was this one. I was scared the shit out of me.
Same thing. I was cleaning the tub, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So if you had asked me what I thought of the album like yesterday as opposed to today, it'd be totally different. Because this was my last listening to it this morning, and right around now it really started to grate more than I ever thought it would, unfortunately, with Backdoor Sally.
Yeah.
I mean, the track is fine, but the voice is definitely starting to get on me at this point of the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an awful song, but it's not great either. It's grating. Backdoor Sally.
It and it called to mind just because of that, because of was it Sneaking Sally Through the Alley? What's that song? Is that Robert Palmer?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. So I guess he's just trying to get John Lennon paid, right? Is all this song's about, because In My Life, which is a song by the Beatles, obviously.
Yeah.
A good guitar song for me. I got that riff down pretty good when I was growing up. So, this version, I remember liking it because of the quote unquote vulnerability of Keith's vocals. And then finally, upon massive re-listens, the chorus the choral background is way too much at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys agree. Bets, do you agree?
This record suffers a lot from a lot of 70s style production. Somebody said it was like Mott the Hoople's golden age of rock and roll, but if you're Mott the Hoople, you can pull it off. Right. It doesn't work so much here, but I am going to say this is by far my favorite track on the album.
Okay.
I really love it. I know it lends itself well to making edits with Keith through the years with it and all that kind of thing. I adore it. And it is the vulnerability of his vocals that you can sometimes use that lack of singing ability, like that he did on Bellboy, and turn it into something that's kind of magic. I like this. I really do. I like it a lot.
Tom, it's obviously your favorite. What did you think?
Would you like a shitty version of an amazing song? Yeah. That was my first note. It wasn't. It's just. I don't know. It's one of those. It's just. I can't not hear the original version, and it's just not the same.
I mean, there was George Martin did this cover album of Beatles songs to celebrate himself, I guess, and with a bunch of guest vocalists, and it had Jim Carrey doing "I Am the Walrus" and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it had Sean Connery doing "In My Life," and it's basically just him reading the lyrics over some music because it's Sean Connery, right?
Yeah,
and it sounds amazing. So this is definitely my third favorite version of "In My Life."
It's going to be my favorite, and I'm going to say this: when I die, play it at my funeral, because I want people to be really sad because I'm so awesome, but then I also want them to try not to crack up. So I'm going
to make people really uncomfortable at my funeral. I'm going to play Quadrophenia, the whole thing. You're just going to have to listen to it. This was Ethan's wishes. That's all he wanted. No remembrance.
Listen to it.
You just can't move. Bathrooms are locked. Anyway. I'm going to give Betts the last word on this song. I'm going to give Tom the first word on Together, the final song on the album.
I wrote, oh boy, reggae music. Can't wait. But actually, I ended up liking this song a little bit more than I thought I would. I think, to be honest, I think this is maybe Keith's strongest vocal performance on the album.
Yeah.
If only it didn't have him talking with Ringo Starr on it. That would.
Oh, come on.
I mean, listen. If they should have put like Interstitial Life with the Moons on this album. I was actually okay with this song until the steel drum. I'm not a fan of steel drums. I'm not a parrot head in any way. Blender and render, you can keep it. What'd you say, Tom?
You're not about the island life?
I don't know where I'm gonna go.
We got a Margaritaville they're building down the road for me, so
I guess I need a change in attitude and a change in latitude. And also the In My Life reprise is like they're trying to like land, I guess, the album.
Mm-hmm.
And so they threw it in there, and it was kind of weird, and just kind of like mixed up. It's like me DJing in the 90s. It's just like, fade fast. You like Together? The song itself is not bad. It's to me, it's the steel drums on it I don't like.
It's a Harry Nilsson song, and this is kind of Harry's vibe at this point. So I was like, it's a Harry Nilsson song, and it's very, very Harry Nilsson. And as for the jokes, I liked them. And when I was 14 years old and I had this record, this was the height of comedy for me. I thought this
Sure.
was just awesome.
And you know, when you hear it, it makes all the difference in whether you like it or not, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
totally fine. Bets, do we have anything further? Some further things on the album before we give our final verdicts here?
Yeah. I want to talk just a hot minute about the drummer on this record. One of the drummers on this record is a guy by the name of Miguel Ferrer. I don't know, you may not know the name, but you know him because you have seen him on Twin Peaks as Agent Albert Goldsmith, and he had a pivotal role in RoboCop. But he's the drummer on this record, and you know, he's a teenager. I'm sure that when they came to him and said, "Hey, you know, would you like to drum on the legendary Keith Moon's record?" It must have been overwhelming. But yeah, it's a little interesting aside that Miguel Ferrer is the drummer.
I know who Miguel Ferrer is.
Yeah.
And I know who his dad is, Abel Ferrer.
Yeah.
Who directed movies like King of New York, right?
No. Jose Ferrer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. But I do know Miguel. He was in the movie Traffic and a bunch of other things too.
yes, he was. He's
So-
awesome.
I wonder how that came about. He was probably really young. He just passed away recently.
Yes, he did.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. But interestingly enough, I had a hard time finding out how this record even charted. You know, there's not a lot of information on what happened to it after that. It was a flop, obviously. And yeah, it's just, people just sort of, you know, kind of thing. I know at the end of it, the total damage of the recording and replacing things that Keith broke and everything else came to about $200,000. And I believe that is 1976 or $1975, not $2022. So yeah.
It peaked at number 155 on the Billboard 200.
Woo!
Wow.
So,
Wow.
I guess that's low. I don't really know. Tom, I'm going to give Bets the final word on this. Where are you finally?
Again, like I said, I'd only listened to this thing once before, and I never went back to it. Maybe perhaps I wasn't as open, or you know, it wasn't forced upon me.
As it was now.
Yeah. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'll say that. Which I was expecting pretty bad. So it seems fair that it was actually pretty decent. I mean, not decent, but it was listenable. You know. Which is
fine. For me, I guess what I like to look for is like a track or two that I would put on a list to listen to separately. Like I'm going to make a list one day of all the songs I didn't know that, and I don't think there's anything on here that I would put on the list to like listen to like for like fun. You know what I mean? And I was expecting to be nicer to the thing, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. I really gave it I gave it the good old college try, as they say, and yeah, it doesn't hold up for me like as a bunch of other things do. But I'm not the one who matters here. Bets has been waiting to do this, so Bets, do you like the album?
I like it with qualifications. I'm going to say this. I think a lot of times people don't like it because it's disappointing. And when you think about, you got the greatest rock and roll drummer, probably the most intuitive rock and roll drummer who ever lived on it, producing this record, and you've got Flo and Eddie, you've got Joe Walsh, you've got Dick Dale, you've got Rick Nelson, Brian Wilson is allegedly in there somewhere, David Bowie is in there somewhere, and this was kind of the best that you could do, and I could see where people get really upset by it.
And don't forget Bobby Keys and Klaus Vormann.
Yes. And Keith makes a convenient fall guy because his name is on the record, but you know, I mean, this was a bunch of bad decisions by a bunch of people. I'm not going to bag on Keith, man. He kept it 100% Keith. They knew what they were getting when they signed off on this thing. I don't really hate it. I actually like it, and I'm going to say this about it too. Now, I don't like all of it, but there are parts that really shine.
Yeah.
When I was listening to it yesterday, when it was on, on YouTube, because it's not on any streaming service, I went and looked into the comments.
Oh no, the comment. You read the YouTube comments? That's bad.
I read the YouTube comments, and let me say this about that. They were uniformly positive. And people were saying, they were like, hey, everybody says this album sucks. And it doesn't. And so for some people, like maybe me, it's a nostalgia thing. And for some people, it's like, man, I really love Keith. And I, he's the puppy. You can't be mad at the puppy. We love the puppy. So if you got enjoyment out of this record, then Keith did his job, and that's okay. I don't hate it. It's fine. And if, go listen to it just so you can say you did. It's not as bad as everybody makes it out to be.
I agree. It's not as bad as it
yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
I was expecting just a train wreck of an album, and it was listenable.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like I said before, in the books and everything, it's like a footnote. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
give it time. So I'm glad we did give it time. So you should listen to it. There is a remastered version out there that has some bonus tracks and outtakes and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should. That's not streaming anywhere, huh? We should get it streaming. All right, Bets, we did it. Are you staying on the show? Are you gonna stay with us now that your main goal is accomplished?
Sure.
Okay. All right, everybody.
Yes,
thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
We'll see you guys soon.
See ya.
Don't worry, baby.